Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Constellation Gaming, and this is December deck list, where I'm going to go through every single day in December, minus the first one because I was a little late, uh, and provide a deck list, whether it's competitive, fun, etc. Last two were more based around the competitive end of stuff, but today I wanted to bring a more fun deck that I enjoy. Never really brought it to any big tournaments, but it is a fun deck that I like to play. So yeah, I call it Water Reanimator. Pretty much it's centered around Capricorn and his ability that says when Capricorn destroys an Elestral in battle, you can special cast an Elestral with one water from your underworld in defense position. And so that's just really strong. I feel as though reanimator strategies are kind of overlooked. Currently, there's not really too much stuff to get engrave other than combat, so I feel as though when the game progresses, that's going to be a card to look out for, because anything that brings stuff back from the grave tends to be pretty good. Although the fact that it has to do it through combat is a little less uh, intuitive, I guess, because there's a lot of counter rooms that stop it. Next, best water Celestial in the game right now, Galaxy. Plays around literally every single counter rune in the game. No reason not to play it. Let's adjust that a little bit. Sorry. And then kind of playing more of a water toolbox package with Foamy here. Uh, Foamy, when it's destroyed, it'll allow you to search a one-cost water Celestial from your deck and special cast it. So you can literally, if they have two Elestrals, you can go Foamy into Foamy as a defensive tool, and then they'll have to attack over the second Foamy, and then you can play whatever Elestral out you would like afterwards. That's a one-cost water, of course. Uh, Free Rabbit. Rabbit's just the best card in the game. Look at the top three cards of your deck and pick any one that you want with a five defense stat, which is kind of unbeatable right now. Except by this little guy, Eddie. Eddie says when he's cast, you can target, well, you don't target, my bad. You can change the position of an Elestral. That's actually really important that it doesn't target because there are some effects that say it can't be targeted by Elestral abilities, so this technically gets around it. And it also gets around pretty much every single counter rune in the game, uh, with the exception of Gorgon's Gaze. Gorgon's Gaze is the only real counter rune that stops this. And don't play it in this deck, but there is always the possibility to quick ascend into Kiribis, which can be really strong. But again, not in this deck. Ugh. Playing Tuma Station, it's a 6 defense body, easy to just sit on and go into Capricorn. Or you can even just pay the one, expend, and swap your attack and defense, and make it a pretty decent beater for water. So it's just a very diverse tool for the deck. Then uh, Dratagua, uh, just when you cast him, he heals 2, or whenever he receives a water spirit, he also heals 2. So there's technically plays in this deck, not really in the main deck. It's more just casting it out. But you can technically heal multiple spirits with him in one turn in this deck uh, through different ways. So then Jolton. Jolton is kind of essential, especially for these next two cards. Um, just because with the Water Reanimator package, just having Capricorn doesn't really classify as Reanimator. You kind of need to play the next two, which Jolton. Jolton will search your Atlantis, buffing all your water Elestrals, plus also giving you the ability to play Rise from the Depths, which can only be cast if you have Atlantis. So having Jolton to search out the Atlantis, even though we're only running two copies, you don't really want to have three of any of these cards because it kind of just clogs up your hand eventually. If you just have too many of them, you don't really need multiple Atlantis for the most part. Um, oops. Somehow this got a little out of order. Um, Fix that real quick. Right. So that's kind of the elestrals, and then the next of the reanimator package, or the starting of the reanimator package. Uh, Now we'll get to the actual runes and stuff like that, but the whole point of the deck, some really cool text with Rise from the Depths actually, is just you can resummon Tratagua, uh, like you can play Tratagua, and then you can literally kill it to play like an Ambrosia or something, so you're healing 5 spirits off of that one spirit, and then if you have the Atlantis and Rise from the Depths, you can always just recast it out with Rise from the Depths, heal another 2, so that's pretty much making both of these a free play, and then you can go into Capricorn, uh, like Hard Ascent into Capricorn, and so it's pretty decent. Uh, Wait, no, you actually couldn't Hard Ascent into Capricorn with that play. I don't know what I'm talking about. If you played it on a different turn, you could do that. But there's also times where you can just Rise from the Depths, multiple elestrals into play, and just kind of surprise sweep their board. You can also use Rise from the Depths. One last point is just you can use it if you have nothing on board, just recast an Elestral so that way you can hard ascend into your Capricorn. So you got 3 Ambrosia in the deck because Ambrosia is just a staple card. It's kind of one of the best cards in the game right now because in this game, casting everything costs your life. So healing in this game is a lot more beneficial than in most. Oops, sorry. Uh, my phone just went off there for a second. So then you have your 2 1-ofs because, I mean, they're just kind of the best removal this game has to offer at the moment. Uh, Outside of PTA, which is very reactionary, uh, Laurels will allow you to get back in the game a little bit. Just having the ability to target something and say destroy is very good. You got True Shield. This is mainly for the big guy strategy, but also you're playing your 2-drop Capricorn, so you want to be able to keep your Elestrals safe for the most part, even though you do have the ability to resummon them. That doesn't always come up. So having the ability to just protect your Elestral for a single turn in order to hard ascend into Capricorn can be game winning in this deck. 2 Nog. Uh, this deck is allowed to play Nog, kind of similar to Frost, but different because while Frost you want your spirits in the grave, uh, this deck just has no problem healing it back up. I gave you the example with Dratagua before where you can just heal a lot of spirits in a turn. And yeah, so it just kind of almost essentially a free draw 2 in this deck because of the Drataguas and some of the sideboard too. 2 Tsunami, uh, honestly kind of just had to cut a card to make some of the stuff fit. Playing this 4 package is a little costly on the rune package, but it's still good to just be able to constantly resummon your stuff. Yeah, and also just cut it because if I run into another water deck, I already struggle with water enough because Galaxy kind of just kills my entire deck. So running another dead card against water kind of is counterintuitive. Free poison tipped arrow because removal is good in any card game, and that's kind of the best of what we've got of it at the moment. Very reactionary though, so that's why you play the other two. But that's really it for removal that we've got. We got the 5 pieces of removal, and that's what the game has to offer at the moment, except for Race from the Top and possibly Boombat, which not really good options, especially in this deck. Um, I might look into Boombat as a sideboard deck, but probably not. Next is 3 Gorgon's Gaze. Gorgon's Gaze, again, I've said it, it's just the best rune in the entire game. It just says no to literally everything. And a 2-cost say no to everything is stupidly powerful in this game. So, then next, we're going to go with the sideboard. Sideboard is, again, a little more towards the fun end, but also it does have some cards that are really good for like competitive. Like Scrap has been really popular, the artifact deck list. Uh, so Mudslide is a really good option that I've been enjoying in the sideboard. Not in the main, because obviously you don't want it for a lot of matchups. But this can also be good into like Earth or Thunder, because a lot of times they'll just play out Zeus with 2, use Zeus once, leave the 1 on there, and then they'll have their Stadium. So this will just get rid of both of them. It's a 2 for 1, but at the same time, their Stadium is very impactful because it allows them to get to the number 5, which is big in this game. Pretty much all their Elestrals can get to the number 5 with that, so taking out their Stadium can be really good against Thunder. So Mudslide can be situationally good against the top 2 decks, and also really good against the number 3, in my opinion. And then next, we're kind of sighting into more of Water Nexus style if we want to heal. If we feel as though we need a lot more resources, the reanimator package isn't doing what it's supposed to. So we're gonna side into Water Nexus. For Water Nexus, you got the 2 Aphros for the drawing, the Poseidon because it's just a big Nexus bank. Literally, it nexuses itself. So yeah, that paired with the Dratagva and the Reanimator ability from this deck, if you want to put just these in, is still decently strong. Then you've got, like I said, more of a heal package. So the 3 Sluggle, again, as I've said before, healing is just elongating your ability to actually play the game, and that's really good. And then our final copy of Dratagva is in the sideboard. Yeah, in this deck, especially with having the Aphros and the Poseidon, having a 3rd Dratagva is really good. Then my interesting tech here, because I'm playing the Reanimators, and because Viserys is very popular, and this card can kind of shut Viserys down a little bit, not nearly as much. Yeah, Viserys is a 5 attacker, this is a 5 attacker, but more often than not, you're gonna want to have Galaxy out with him, or you're just gonna be sitting on his defense. And the ability to shut down Viserys in this game is kind of unspoken for. It's just really strong, because even if they can kill something and it's not your Kraken, and they have another Elestral out, they can't summon a 3rd one because you will have the other 2 slots locked down with Kraken's ability. So Kraken, even though it's a really weird pick, nobody plays it much. I think this card is actually really strong, especially against Viserys. 3rd copy of Tsunami in the sideboard, just in case I'm going against a non-water deck. Tsunami is stupidly strong. And then if I'm siding into the Wex's package, Altar Stars. Alter is pretty much just a smaller tsunami. Uh, uh, just if you have Poseidon and Dratagua out, that also gives you the ability to heal uh, stuff. And I put it in more in a deck, or I'd probably side out the shields for these. But yeah, that's the side deck. Kind of more of a Water Nexus package with a Draking top. Just more stall than anything. Then for spirits, you got 3, 6, 9, 12 water. To be honest, don't really need this many, but we also don't need anything else. Um, Freeze After, because just you've got your Joltons, you've got your Ass Rabbit. Uh, 3 Thratless for the Earthquake, and if you want to side in the Mudslides, you've got plenty of Spirit Room, so it doesn't matter. And I was supposed to have Lavalith in the sideboard, so I do have the 2 here, but I think I can't count, and I just for some reason forgot my Lavalith. Uh, yeah, so just probably take out one of the Sluggles for just Lavalith in the sideboard. Just yeah, I can't believe I completely slipped my mind to stick that in there. But that is what I call Water Reanimator, focused more around the Rise from the Depths and Capricorn package, which I feel as though if once we get more attack oriented water elestrals, which I don't know if we will because how strong Tsunami is. But once we get if we get more attack oriented water elestrals, Capricorn is going to be a card to look out for, and I think it will be more of a menace as we get more cards. But that's the deck list. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give me a like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for another list.